The 13th year of Hijra, a year that witnessed great events and a great victory for the Muslims in the Levant. In this year, the Muslim armies were growing in strength and improving in organization, led by the great companion Khalid bin al-Walid, who was famous for his courage and great wisdom in wars. The Byzantine Empire was watching the progress of the Muslims with concern, as it did not expect this growing force to achieve all this progress in such a short time. After several previous confrontations, the Roman army gathered in the Yarmouk plain, where the battle was taking its decisive form. In the Yarmouk plain, while both sides were preparing for a decisive confrontation, Khalid bin al-Walid moved to organize the ranks of the Muslims based on what he had learned and known about the methods of war. The Romans had prepared a huge army with great numbers and equipment, believing that they would force the Muslims to fight a battle in which they would have no choice but to be defeated. The Battle of Yarmouk. The battle began with ferocity and enthusiasm, as two huge armies met in a battle that lasted for several days, and the sound of swords and horses filled the plain, and dust accumulated over the heads, and the steadfastness and strength of the Muslim soldiers in the face of the large number of Romans was evidence of their strength and courage. This battle was not easy for the Muslims. They fought for days of fighting and steadfastness in the face of an army that outnumbered them. After nearly a week of continuous fighting and great sacrifices, a prominent mark was formed on the horizon of the Yarmouk plain indicating victory. So Khalid bin al-Walid put forward bold plans to penetrate the Byzantine ranks, and thanks to his good coordination, the Muslim army was able to penetrate the enemy's defenses and achieve a decisive victory. On the last day of the battle, the Muslims were able to achieve a resounding victory and the Roman soldiers dispersed after being completely defeated, and the Yarmouk plain became a stage for their determination and faith. Heading to Damascus. After the dazzling victory in the Battle of Yarmouk, the Muslims did not stop there, but headed towards Damascus, the capital of the Levant, which was also under Byzantine rule. Damascus was a city of historical and cultural importance, and the Muslims realized that its conquest would strengthen their control over the region and expand the scope of the Islamic State. When the Muslims reached the outskirts of Damascus, they began to impose a siege on it, a siege that was characterized by patience and wise management by the commander Khalid bin al-Walid. After a few days, the Muslims were able to enter the city in peace, and its people accepted the conditions that the Muslims offered them. The impact of the victory of Yarmouk on the Levant. After this great victory, Damascus became part of the Islamic State, and the Muslims were able to advance towards conquering other cities in the Levant. The Battle of Yarmouk played a major role in changing the history of the region, and the battle was the beginning of a series of conquests that made the Levant part of what would eventually become the full Islamic Caliphate. The end and conclusion. The Battle of Yarmouk demonstrated the ability of Muslims to succeed in circumstances that exceed their numbers and equipment, and it is a pivotal point in history, proving that faith, patience, and careful planning can achieve victory even in the most difficult battles.